Hi, this is Marcos with Maven Imaging again. Today we're going to be going over some of the tools that come with the Voyance acquisition and Voyance viewer software. Now we're going to be going over all the way from the basic tools, the image editing tools, some keyboard shortcuts, all the way to some advanced tool sets that chiropractors use, some specialized things here and there. Now jumping right into it, one of the first things that we've got here through keyboard shortcuts is how to minimize the Voyance software. You're going to hold the Windows button and hit the D key for desktop. That's going to take you to the desktop. You can open Voyance back up here. I'm going to open up a test file. One of the things that you can do also, Control-C always works for copy. In case you want to grab some words, Control-V will replace those words back. If you hit Control-Z, that'll undo your last change, and it'll undo several changes prior to that. So if you hit Control-Z multiple times, then we can go back to before that label was even placed. If you hit Control-Y, that will redo something that you undid. So say for instance here, I can undo creating the label and then redo creating the label and redo any of the edits that I chose to make. Delete is always going to work if you've got things on the screen and you are in the selection mode. So if we want to delete this label, we can select it and then just hit the delete button. You can also, let's see, coming back to word editing, if you double click a word, that will highlight the entire word. So say for instance we've got multiple words, you can highlight one word by just double clicking it and delete many times. That helps a lot when you're dealing with labels. Selecting multiple things at one time, you can say if you want to select multiple images, you can select one, hold Control, and then select others. You can also use the multi-selection mode up here. You can always tell if it's active, if it's blue. Multi-selection mode, you just select anything that you want, highlight it, or unhighlight the things that you do not want, and then get out of the multi-selection mode. This is most useful when just working with things that need multiple selections. So things like these multiple images views, and you can select in that way. Now selecting multiple in a range, say for instance we want to select all patients from the first to the third, select the top and then hold the shift button and then select the bottom, and it'll select everything in between. If you want to reorder any images at any time, you just highlight that image, click and hold, and then move it to any order that you would like. Now we're going to go ahead and start with the image modification tools. As soon as you take an exposure, and then it's going to take you directly into this tool set here. Sometimes you're going to have anatomy view open. You can unfold that to view the anatomy mode to take more scans, or you can fold the anatomy views as well. This is typically how I like to have my screen. So starting at the top, you can relabel any image that you have taken. You can edit views, you can edit body parts, different things. You can comment here. That'll show up in different options within the software. So you wanted to print a report, that's where you input a comment on each specific image. So we can get out of that for now. The soft option is going to be more to view soft tissue. Go ahead and enable auto. That is going to be on your software by default. It'll be on auto. So if you use the hard view, that's going to be more utilized to view hard tissue. That's going to make bone stick out more than soft tissue. say you want the edges of these vertebrae to show up better, you can just increase sharpness. That'll show the edges of things a little bit more sharply. Say we've got a little bit of a difficulty telling the difference between these vertebrae and the soft tissue behind it, we can increase the contrast, making the darkers darker and the darks darker and the bright colors brighter, or the whites brighter. Brightness, that is going to increase just the general brightness of the entire image. Now, going over the grid, you can, if you want vertical lines to be more prominent in your image, you can select the vertical and then change your LPI higher and lower depending on what you would like to do. And that'll change. See, we've got our vertebrae a little bit better. We've got a little bit better view of our vertebrae here. Now, if you're wanting to make a lot of changes all at one time, you can disable auto and then make your changes. Say I just want to make a bunch of changes all at one time. And then you can hit process later on, so that way you're not just waiting for the image to process after every single mouse click. So if we did have auto, in order to do all those things, we'd have to make one change, wait, make another change, wait, make another change, wait. So sometimes that will be useful, sometimes it won't. The LUT type, that's just going to be the difference in your color curvature graph and how you're able to edit the contrast. You can do linear, that's going to make it a much more harsh line. These, a lot of times, I don't use linear very often. Spline is mostly used to just give it that curvature right there. So focusing more on the darks than the lights. And then you can manually adjust the highs and the lows of what is included in the image itself. So if everything is gray, for instance, or everything is black, then you can faintly see the image here. If you want to just bring more of that image in, then just we'll take this end cap further down and take the beginning further up to just focus on a smaller spectrum of the colors in the image. That is about it on the image editing tools themselves. So we'll go ahead and go straight to the basic tools. Starting up here, we've got full screen mode. That's going to be utilized a lot of times when you're just showing a patient single, multiple images at one time. You don't want them to really, see the software itself. To get out of this view, you can hit escape, or you can always hit this this close icon up here. Going down, you've got selection mode. That's going to give you the ability to, this is by default what's selected. You can zoom in, zoom out using the middle button or the wheel. You can click and hold to navigate. Right click doesn't really do anything. And then also, if you've got any labels or markers or anything, you can use the selection tool to select that tool and manipulate it, or any of the labels or anything like that. This is utilized by default as soon as you're finished using one tool. So we can get out of that, select it, delete it to get out of there. Moving forward, screen layout. Say you want to view multiple images at one time. Vertically, doing that, it's going to show you, if you don't have multiple selected, it'll show you just whatever is selected and then whatever is down below underneath that image. Say I wanted this chest x-ray and this pelvis x-ray, I'd hold control and then click on this pelvis, and we'll be able to see both those at the same time. We can also bring that into full screen view, exit out. If we want to go back to normal, hit screen layout, go back to single image, and we're back to normal. If you want to rotate clockwise, that's the next tool here. Single click gives you 90 degrees clockwise. And next tool is counterclockwise, same thing. Each click is 90 degrees counterclockwise. If you have lost yourself in Zoom and you don't know how you've gotten there or how to get back, you can always hit reset zoom. That'll take you right back to the beginning. The next tool, flip horizontally, is going to be used to just flip the image left to right. And the next, flip vertically, flips the image top to bottom. The next window level tool here is going to be used to fine-tune the contrast. Say we really want to focus in on this vertebrae, you use this click and hold on the screen and then go right to left to adjust the image accordingly. Looks like right and left adjust for darks, and I believe, okay, no, right to left is contrast, bottom to top is general brightness. So you can use that to just, again, fine-tune anything that you're doing. Say we wanted to crop this image and only focus on a specific type or a portion. Say we would just want a portion of the spine, then you can just focus in further on that spine. You can manipulate the rotation of that as well while you're here. We're just going to leave that as close as we can get to 0, and then just hit enter, and that'll get you back to the new cropped image. If you want to get out of that crop, you can hit Control Z, that'll undo the crop, or you can just redo this here, or we can go down here and just reset the entire image. At any time you can do that. Moving forward here, we've got angle. You'll click and hold the first point and then let go on the second point, and then you'll click on the third point. So again, we're going to click and hold, go to the second point, and then drag to the third point. Okay, and we can go back to selection mode and delete, or you can also manipulate any single point of this tool that's already been used. Say we want to just get more finite detail here. And then to get rid of anything that we've put singularly, you just select whatever that was in selection mode and then hit delete. Select and delete. And we'll go back out here. So to measure something that just has 2 points, select the measurement tool, select the first point, click and hold, drag to the second point and let go. You can always manipulate where these labels are as well. And then if you want to manipulate any of the points, go back to selection mode. You can manipulate any of the points from there. Then we can select it, delete it, move forward. We've got a standard R label. You can make that smaller, larger. You can rotate it, whatever you want to do there. Same thing here. And then we've got the free label tool. Edit that by double clicking into it, then double clicking again to select the entire word, and then just begin typing. And click away to get out of the label itself. So the little box over here you can use to manipulate the size. The tool to the left is going to be utilized to rotate the label. So we're back to default selection mode, select each tool, and hit delete to get rid of it. And then say you're just all marked up and you don't really want to have things on the screen, you've kind of lost where you are and you just want to start back over. Reset image you can always use, just click it and then you will lose those changes completely, so hit OK and there you are. Say you want to delete the image entirely, then you can highlight that image and then just delete the image. You can reject the image and that just gives you the ability to see why it was rejected for the future. If you have somebody that wants to determine troubleshooting issues or things like that. Or you can also select the image and just hit delete. So that'll cover the basic tools. Now we've got a further set of tools here. This is kind of the more advanced set. You're going to be utilizing these tools for just a number of different reasons. We're going to start off here with just a single point. This is just a point that's just going to show you one point on the X-ray. You can use the selection tool to just manipulate where you have put that single point. It's just a reference point. It's not giving you really any information about the point at all. We can use a line tool. You're going to click, hold, and then drag. Now that tool is not going to give you any information about the line. It's simply just going to give you a line. Go ahead and get rid of this line if we can. There we go. And then we've got an arrow. This is going to be another click and hold and then drag. We can manipulate that with the selection tool. Click that bad boy. Change each point. We can use that also with the label. Portion of that. And then we've got free distance. This is going to show you just the distance between point A and point B. That's another click and hold. See, as soon as I finish that, it put me back into selection mode, so I can immediately change the points of that measurement. Go ahead and get rid of that one. Just a standard circle here, click and hold. That takes a measurement of the radius as well. We've got a 3-point circle, so that's going to be a point, point, point. So no click and hold, those are just click, click, click. Circle angle. At any point, also you can just check down here on the status bar it'll give you step-by-step instructions on how to use each tool. So we'll click, and then it'll give you the ability to give a second click there. Give that another try. I see. Okay, so you'll click and hold, and then it'll give you the ability to get that angle. So one place that you can use that is going to be a pelvis. If you wanted to get different angles of the femur head. Takes it from the inside, and say we want to start at about 90, and we want to take a measurement of just something here. I'll give you the angle there. Now vertical discrepancy, moving forward, we will have just a point, any point on the screen. Our vertical discrepancy line here. You're going to click on the first point, and then you're going to click on the second point. So no click and hold, just a simple click and click. That'll give you the measurement discrepancy from A to point B in the vertical distance. You've got just an angle similar to the angle in the basic tool set. Cross angle. So we've got measurement of a perpendicular angle. Pretty simple. You can use that in a number of different ways. Middle angle. And that'll give you, similar to a cross, angle. So we'll go ahead and do a middle angle again. Click and hold. And then you've got the ability to select the point for the middle angle. You can also just manipulate any portion of that measurement in select mode. Next is the V-axis tool. That's just going to give you a vertical axis marker all the way from the bottom to the top of the screen. Horizontal axis is going to do the same thing. You're going to go ahead and click it, drag it. It's going to give you a full from left to right axis on the screen. Free axis. We're going to use this one. Click the first point and hold and let go on the second point. And it'll give you an axis, just a free axis anywhere on the screen. Got horizontal level. That's going to start with an axis. And if you click and hold and let go on a point, then that will give you the discrepancy in the horizontal level, known as the angle. Then we have vertical level. That's going to give you a vertical axis and an offset or a level. It will give you both the measurement and the angle. Axis label, the free axis level. So you click and hold to set the axis, and then you get the option to give the offset. Again, there it gives you the angle and the measurement of that offset. You've got the point ratio tool. You are going to create two separate lines, and this will give you measurements and different numerical data about the two different lines in relation to one another. Three-point ratio. This one is going to give you the ability to set 2 points and manipulate the middle point and give you data about that middle point in relation to the 2 points. Okay, next, the cardiothoracic ratio. This is going to give us the ability to measure the offset of the cardiosoft tissue in relation to the right and the left side of the chest cavity. Next we have the leg length discrepancy tool. Now we don't have a good example of a really long x-ray for that, so what we're going to do is we're just going to check there, and then you can click and adjust each if you'd like. You can even adjust the initial axis. Okay. Okay, next we have the femoral symmetry tool. Again, it'll give you the instructions on how to process each tool down here on the status bar. Next, we have the acetabular angle tool. Next, we have the metadiaphyseal angle. Next, we have the iliac angle. Next, we have the double line axis. Just click and drag for the first left-right axis, and click and drag to the second left and right axis. Next, we have the center edge angle tool. Next, we have the PMAA-DMAA tool. Next, we have the axis angle tool. show you the difference between the two axis angles. Next we have the IMA-HVA tool. It's very similar to one of the last tools. It shows you the discrepancy between the two angles. Next we have the measurement calibration tool. This is going to help you calibrate. Say on your DR panel you put a measurement of, we'll just say, a ruler, and you draw a line from the beginning to the end of that ruler, and then it's going to ask you how long that measures. You would say 12 inches, and then you would hit OK. Then that will calibrate the measurements of the entire software. Next we have the free rotate tool. Just gives you the ability to just freely rotate on any, whether it be clockwise or counterclockwise, and you're not held to 90 degrees, you can do it by degree. And you just hit enter to make the change. You can always hit Control Z to undo your last. Next we've got the spine label tool. You're just going to click that and then click the first vertebrae that you want to label. That's going to give you the ability to determine which vertebrae that is. And then you, after labeling the first, you can just click on each vertebrae thereafter, and we will automatically see that label. Next we have the spine analysis tool. We're going to select the 4 points of each vertebrae. That's going to give us the center line, and it will give us the difference between those center lines, and it'll give us kind of a curvature line down any portion of the spine that you'd like to take a look at. Next we've got the Cobb angle tool. It's going to tell you to select different portions of the vertebrae that you're wanting to compare to one another, and then once you're finished it'll give you the measurement there. Next we have the vertebral line. You're going to select different portions of the first vertebrae, and then you're going to select different portions of the second vertebrae. Next we have George's line. This one's going to give us the ability to tell the distance between each vertebrae, to give us information possibly on the thickness of each disc, things of that nature. So you're going to select the top and the bottom of each vertebrae, and then the top and bottom of each vertebrae, and so on and so forth until you are finished. To end that measurement, you're going to want to hit enter. Next we have the cervical curve tool. both a length measurement and a curve measurement. Next we have the Atlas axis angle. Next, the Atlas C1 plane angle. Next, we have the cervical curve C2 through C7. Next, we've got the cervical curve C1 through T2. Next, we have the spinal laminar line. Next, we have vertebral angulations measurement. Manipulate the positioning of any of these measurements. Next, we've got the lumbar curve. Next, we have the spondylolisthesis measurement, or grade measurement. Next, the pelvic parameters tool. Next we have the pelvic analysis tool. Forgive me if my anatomy isn't perfect here. Again, I don't know my anatomy too perfectly well, but if you follow the status bar, that is it's gonna help you label all of these different measurements correctly. I definitely have done my best here. So that is going to cover really every tool that we have in each of the tool sets. If you've got any questions, any issues, any suggestions maybe to add to the software, anything like that, you can always give us a call, 1-800-849-8015, option 2, and you can get a hold of one of us at the support team with Maven Imaging. Aside from that, you have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to hearing from you and hope you have a great time with these tools.